Relationships are temporary and pixels are forever, is what a typical degenerate gacha kumer might say after sinking thousands or perhaps even hundreds of thousands of dollars in a gacha game. Just kidding. Let's be honest, they kinda got a point though. Now, close your eyes and imagine, instead of having a single waifu in one game, you could have multiple waifu, or scratch that, even better yet, imagine you could have multiple waifu in multiple games. The world is your oyster, my friend, and the sky's the limit. But when do all of this becomes too much? Is there too many gacha games in the market? And if not, why does everything feel so overwhelming? With gacha games entering the mainstream in the past 3 to 4 years, we all collectively went insane for its incredible gameplay. Imagine, I don't want Ellen. I'm just building pity. I would like a Sugoku or Sugaku. No! 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 Yes. Immaculate gameplay. And now it seems like every couple of months there is a new hot game that is either being announced or being released. In today's video, I want to sit down and have an honest conversation with you guys about this collective burnout I feel like the community has been feeling. How this gacha space is starting to feel really quite overwhelming, and how us gamers should navigate the gacha space for our own sakes. Let's talk about the start of it all, Genshin Impact. It really feels like the rise of Genshin Impact has pushed gacha games as a genre into the mainstream. For a lot of people, Genshin Impact is not only their first gacha game, but it's also their first game in general. This open-world action role-playing game exploded in popularity in 2020 with its compelling world building and its charming characters. And let's be honest, did we really have anything better to do at the time? Yes, I am aware that Hoyoverse did have Honkai Impact 3rd, but I wouldn't necessarily say Honkai Impacted the 3rd time was a mainstream hit, but it was absolutely successful in their own right. At the time, Genshin, in my humble opinion, did something really quite significant. It made a beautiful open world game accessible to majority of people since it was a mobile gacha game. I mean, mobile gacha game went from looking like this to this in a span of a decade. It was not only accessible, but it had one of the best new player experiences for a casual gamer. 2020 Genshin newcomer experience was like a solid 9.5 out of 10 for me. I remember in 2020 logging into Genshin for the very first time, and that first 12 to 24 hours was so freaking magical, especially that walk from Mondstadt to Liyue. I still have really fond memory looking back at those moments, and I'm gonna make a confession. I was that person who was playing the game for like 8 hours a day for the first couple of days because, you know, didn't have anything better to do. Massive success of Genshin, Hoyoverse since then launched other gacha titles like Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero, targeting audiences in different niches while keeping the same gacha monetization strategy. Seeing the success of Hoyoverse, other companies really started to understand that gacha monetization plus compelling world building plus on a phone equals super OP business model, which equates to holy moly a crap ton of money. Which, by the way, I am really interested in exploring this topic more and make a video dissecting this topic. So this is your friendly nudge to hit the subscribe button if you enjoy the video, hit the notification for future episodes like this one, and thanks in advance. So not a surprise that different company wanted a slice of this pie. Since then, other title has either been launched or announced like Wuthering Waves, Project Mugen, Azure Provilia, Infinity Nikki, which I will be playing Infinity Nikki because I'm so freaking hyped and I just love how girly the game is. Whatever this skateboard game is called. And I'm sure there are many more gacha titles that I'm not aware of, but these are the main ones I've been keeping tabs on. You know, more and more games are coming out implementing gacha as a core monetization strategy while having their own spin on its world building. Not you. Yeah, I wasn't talking about you. So let's talk about why the boom of gacha games can be a great thing. The most obvious answer to this question is competition. As more and more title comes out, the market becomes more and more competitive. Developers are pushed to improve their content, marketing strategy, quality of life, in-game rewards in order to keep us engaged and interested. But secondly, it gives the player base options and allow us to become more selective in the game that we want to spend time and money on. If one game doesn't cut it, then we could just move on to a different game that would give us a better experience. In the perspective of the market, it's good that us as the consumer has the freedom of choice to play whatever games we want and still have great alternative. Last but not least, now that there are other companies releasing or planning on releasing gacha games, we finally don't have to put up with some of the bullshit like we did for, I don't know, past 3.5 years. If we don't like a way a dev team is treating the player base, then we could just play another game or move on entirely. Wait, what? A gift of gratitude? What do you mean you're giving us 30 polls? It hasn't even been 30 years yet. As a gamer, it feels incredibly overwhelming to keep up with the constant new releases, the new announcements, and I want to touch on why it feels so draining to keep up with the current landscape. What it is that everything boils down to when starting a new gacha game, it feels like the beginning of a new committed long-term relationship. Gacha game is known for its retention strategy and it will do anything and everything in its power to keep you from quitting. So let's talk about it. Whenever a player starts a new gacha game, it takes a lot of upfront effort. What do I mean by upfront effort? When we start a game, we go through a phase of the game where we're slowly getting introduced to the mechanics, the general lore, the character, and the world. This could basically range from the tutorial of the game to the prologue of the main story, even a bunch of puzzles or domain that the game makes you do before unlocking all key functions. Upfront effort is basically the effort the player has to put in the game to get settled in. And get cozy, folks, because you're most likely gonna be in it for months or maybe even years. Every game does this, and it just depends on how well a game executes this phase. One of the core tactics that these companies commonly employ is unsurprisingly FOMO mechanics. This is prevalent in almost all aspects of gacha games, such as the limited time banners, the daily energy system, and limited time events. Every one of these systems is prying on your fear of missing out, especially the daily system they put in place like commission and energy, incentivizing the players to log in every single day, even if it's for 10 to 20 minutes at a time. Unlike many other single player games where you just log in whenever you want and you could pick up right where you left off, in gacha games, if you don't log in for a day, it literally means you lose out on a day's progression that you could have made. Daily systems are one of the main ways that you make progression on these type of games. On top of that, it is common practice for gacha games to sell you a $5 monthly pass that requires you to log in every day so you could get what you paid for. The goal here is to present you with a good deal and make you form a habit to log in to their game every day. Since there is money involved, you are way more likely to log in because you don't want to waste money, even if it's $5. Let's talk about the biggest reason why players find it so hard to quit, and that is sunk cost fallacy. Sunk cost fallacy is the idea that a person is reluctant to abort mission because they have already heavily invested into it, even when it is clear that abandonment will be more beneficial. So imagine you're a player that has been logging into the game for about a year, maybe 2 years, almost every single day. It's hard to justify to quit, right? The moment you quit, it means you just acknowledge that you wasted an entire year or maybe even 2 years and your progression means nothing. So you just keep logging in even if it means that you don't enjoy the game anymore for the sake of progression. While this doesn't seem like a big deal if you just play one game for 20-ish minutes a day, but what if you play 2 gacha games or maybe even 3? And if you're a true daredevil, you'll play 4 at the same time. That's like having 4 committed relationships. how should we navigate the space while getting maximum enjoyment? Now, I'm not here to tell you what game you should or should not play. Truthfully speaking, I don't care which game you play or which game is better. Personally, I believe that video games are created to give us entertainment and to be enjoyed. If you stop enjoying a game for whatever reason, then play a different game that you do enjoy. Since gacha game is such a popular genre right now, more and more companies are gonna release their own spin, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon, which is totally okay, and I think it's fine for gacha games to have FOMO mechanics because ultimately it's up to us if we want to be controlled by the FOMO mechanic. Technically, we could just all say fuck this shit and quit anytime. Or even better yet, if a game gets boring, you could just chuck it in the back burner and come back to it when it gets good. Just keep in mind that games are meant to serve you and make you happy. You're valuable and your time is precious. All these games want your money, sure, but the resource they're really fighting for is your time and energy. If you're going to play a game, then you deserve to play a game that you thoroughly enjoy moment to moment. So I think we should sometimes take a step back and check in with ourselves and evaluate our enjoyment. Taking the time to check in with ourselves is not only healthy for us mentally, but it would improve our perspectives on the games in general. In terms of swiping in games, now you could swipe or not swipe for whatever reason. It's not really my place to tell you how you should spend your money. Personally, I'm not free to play, and I have swiped a good chunk in different gacha game over the years. A swipe rule for me is that I generally just want to feel good about spending money on a game if I am gonna, do the magic swipe. Personally, I go through a couple mental checklists before I decide to swipe. Let's start with the obvious questions. Do I like this character in terms of their design, their kit, their lore? Is this unit a good pull for my account in terms of progression? Is this character's playstyle different enough to everything else I currently have? And some of the more difficult questions I ask myself are, am I happy with the state of the game right now? Am I satisfied with the content that it is in the game? And a huge one for me recently is, do I like the way I'm being treated by the developers? I really freaking hate swiping for characters just because they're well marketed or because of FOMO. I always end up feeling really shitty about it afterwards. Like I said before, this is not me telling you how you should spend your money. All I'm saying is, if we're gonna swipe for a game, we deserve to feel good about it. I want to wrap up this video by asking the question what this means for me as a gacha content creator. While it makes me happy to share my experiences and my idea, I'm just too freaking lazy to make content for a game that doesn't even excite me at the moment. Especially now there are so many games for me to potentially cover in this channel. I guess from a logistic and number standpoint, I will get less views on some videos because not everybody plays the same game, and that is totally okay. Hopefully, one day my channel will serve as a way for me to introduce you guys to games that I personally think it's really fun and worth your time playing. You could see my experiences with the said game and my thoughts on them. And after that, you can make the choice for yourself if you want to try them out. Just so in the future, if I don't or stop posting about a specific game for weeks or maybe even months at a time, it doesn't mean that I quit. It just means it's sitting in the back burner because there's like a new shiny game that I'm really into at the moment. Ultimately, my goal is to make content that is informative and entertaining for you guys, and most importantly, provide a small corner of the internet where we could just laugh about dumb shit. So what can you expect moving forward with my channel? I want to start making yap videos like this one from time to time, game review videos. I don't know if that's something you want to see from me. Stream highlights, shit posting, will make guides on character if and only if I am obsessed with them. It's hard for me to see where the direction of this channel is going, and we'll just take it one step at a time. Anyway, thanks for watching and listening to my yap session. I appreciate you being here. If you want to join me live, it will be twitch.tv/Angienuggie. And until next time, peace.